Hello there, my name is Victor Ogunyika, and you're welcome to the midweek edition of Today in the News, and of course, all of those newspapers across the Federation, and looking at the major headlines everywhere.
Over 1,000 people are benefiting from free medical services provided by the FCT chapter.
Arsenal Spurs Club transfer record signed Pep.
Good morning and welcome to Vanguard Live. It's Today in the News. Here we read and give in-depth analysis on the front pages of the dailies across Nigeria. I'm Damilola Ogushake and I'm with my co-host. I'm Precious Jubilee. Precious, good morning.
Good morning, Damilola.
I'm fine. How was your journey this?
Traffic in Lagos is not in
But at night, did you feel like it's that moment that you just
serious. It's really serious.
felt it till I got to the studio this morning? Okay, let's go straight to the front page of Vanguard newspaper. And Delta herdsmen killings, lack of funds stalls autopsy of 6 exhumed corpses. And the rider, soldiers threaten to destroy your communities. Our people can't go to farms. This is coming from Glory Community. Don't come near Isoko land. IDU tells killer herdsmen. 2 killed by suspected herdsmen in Edo. Details can be found on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. And moving on to other stories, on page 35, cashless policy meant to reduce volume of money in circulation. CBN is saying this as Central Bank of Nigeria. And on page 11, 63 persons under surveillance as Lassa fever hits Lagos. And moving on to page 7, how Aso Rock director was murdered. And on page 8, Leah's mother begs British Prime Minister to help rescue our daughter. APC crisis, why reconciliation will be difficult. This is coming from Babache and it's on page 43. And moving on to the stories about the nameplates. Discuss are failed in power supply. Federal government is saying this. Malls reversal of privatization. And details can be found on page 10. And lastly, let's look at the Naira watch. As a Naira appreciates to 364 Naira.91 dollars in IME window, and you can see more of this on page 41. And from there we go straight to the Punch newspaper.
And on the Punch newspaper, we have major headlines. Illegal migration. You may impose tough visa rules on Nigeria. European Union warns. Union declares Nigerians as among top 10 illegal immigrants in Europe. Nigerians criminal network active, says European Union, demands solution. You can find more on that story on page 2. And we have this photo story of world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua with the Akari bow of Remo Kingdom Oba Adewale Ajayi during Joshua's visit to the monarchy in Shagamu, Ogun State. And also move on to other stories. On page 7, we have Lassa fever, Lagos places 63 under surveillance. And on page 5 of the Punch, we have it's strange my brother jumped into lagoon, sister of suicidal man. And also the story about we have on page 13, it's wrong to think National Assembly members are overpaid, Buhari. And on page 2 of the Punch, we have Akonde's APC peace panel to receive memoranda next week. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper, we have Nigeria oil reserves will dry up in 49 years, DPR. You can find more on that story on page 32, and that's what we have on the Punch newspaper. We're moving straight to the Daily Trust.
And on the front page of Daily Trust, Governor suffer in Taraba as Ichaku relocates to Abuja. Signs 2020 budget in FCT, Federal Capital Territory. It is an impeachment offense, says the All Progressive Congress. Governor has done nothing wrong. This is coming from the People's Democratic Party, and details can be found on page 5. And moving on to other stories, Ekiti government to translate laws into Yoruba language, and details can be found on page 25. And on page 16, World Bank approves $22.2 billion for 6 projects in Nigeria. Federal government to discuss perform or quit, no more subsidy. This is on page 8. And lastly, on the front page of Daily Trust, Buhari to lawmakers, Nigeria says you are overpaid. Details can be found on page 41. And from there, we go straight to The Nation.
And on The Nation newspaper, we have major headlines. Disco's licenses likely for revocation over poor power. A problem of electricity supply is distribution. Minister effect to decide firm's fate. And you can see more on that story on page 8. And also there's a photo story of officials of Khan, Yobe State, on a march in solidarity with Leah Sharibu, who has spent 2 years in Boko Haram's captivity in Damaturu. And we have excess crude account drops from $325 million to $70 million in 1 month. You can find more on that story on page 8 as well. And also on page 44 of The Nation is where we have 63 under watch as Lassa fever enters Lagos. Death toll now 103. And lastly on The Nation, we have a suspect held for murder of a presidency's director. You can find more on that story on page 4 of The Nation newspaper. And from The Nation newspaper, we move to This Day.
And on This Day newspaper, Borno governor, Nigeria needs 100,000 more soldiers to crush Boko Haram. Wants 50,000 recruited from Borno. Urges Buhari to revisit 2016/2017 military strategy to defeat insurgency. And details can be found on the front page, and also it continues on page 8 of This Day. And moving on to the story about the nameplates, World Bank okays $2.185 billion project support fund for Nigeria. And details can be found on page 8 of This Day. Rivers condemns attack on Odili, Old Silver, and Oshomola responsible. Details can be found on page 5 of This Day. And that is all we have for the paper review for this morning. And from here we'll go on a short break. And after the break, we'll be going to the in-depth analysis of this. We have a guest in the studio, and we'll be looking at this. And also, remember, we also analyze the sports. So stay with us after the break. And while we're on the break, like and follow us on our social media platforms and visit our website www.vanguardngr.com to get more breaking news and other interesting stories. We'll be back.
All the participants at this summit are registered on a database. So the next step is mining that database, looking through it, and sorting into the various segments of the agri value chain participants, and making that database available for all Nigerians to add their own information. If you want to join which of the segments, you have access to see what is available. We provide banking facilities, we provide financial advisory to the participants. Then we take all their requests, which they are already putting on the platform, and we engage them one-on-one, depending on which part of Nigeria they are in. We are in all the states in Nigeria, so we have physical locations where our agri desk is able to interact with the participants in the agri segment to evaluate how we support you. Is it by farming instruments? Is it working capital? Is it land preparation? Is it access to market? because it's not just finance. So you have produce. As a bank and on this platform, we're able to connect you to who needs your produce, who has the ability to pay for your produce, so that we energize the value chain.
All right, welcome back. And if you're just joining us, it's still today in the news, and here we review and as well analyze newspaper front stories. And this segment is our analysis segment, and then we get to talk about the front pages of the newspaper. We have a very interesting guest who we always, look forward to see every time. He is in the person of Ifeanyi Okoye. He's a public affair analyst. You're welcome, Mr. Ifeanyi Okoye. All right, so we're moving straight to major headline, and that is the lack of funds stalls autopsy of 6 exhumed corpses. As yesterday, there were reports about farmers who were killed and were buried, and because of that, they had to exhume their corpses for further investigation. Now, I don't get what is going on. Are they saying that they didn't think about the monetary needs before exhuming these corpses?
That's what the security agency will tell you. It was never captured in their budget. So it's left for the community where those corpses were found to do their due diligence. Because I think it was in Delta State this happened yesterday, in a particular community close to Isoko. So I heard the news, and I believe that maybe something that the community and the police within Delta State can harmonize and know what to do on the issue. So for them to say no funding, well, I don't know.
Okay, but this is now bringing fear to the heart of the communities and to the people, and they are saying that they can't go to the farms, they can't go again because they are scared of these type of things happening again. And we have it that mostly when it comes to other communities, also we have insecurity issues, and this is what we have been talking about. And this is 2020, and this is February. Insecurity, is this what we should still be fixing, considering our economy and other things?
Well, everything is left to the community leaders to take a decisive action, because the federal government cannot do everything, and they will not do for them what they will do for their people. Because when there is breakdown of security, law and order, I don't think governance will thrive, and I don't think they will make progress. So it's left to the people and the government to decide.
Okay, and that's as also said that they would make sure that the people who are responsible for this will be brought to book. And also, some group like in Niger Delta, they are calling for their own kind of security outfit, yes, like Amotekun. They feel like this would solve the level of insecurity in that area. What do you think?
Like the Amotekun, at least they have started. So those governors from the South, I think they should have their meetings and fashion the way out, because the country, the level of insecurity is alarming, and this administration, they are always on the lip service. We have not seen one headsman or those Fulani headsmen being arrested and prosecuted. Rather, we see them every day granting amnesty or pardon to the so-called repentant Boko Haram, so which is a threat to peace.
Okay, so speaking about Boko Haram, Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum said that Nigeria needs 100,000 more soldiers, to crush Boko Haram, and he said like 50,000, that's half of them, should come from Borno, that they should come from Borno, irrespective of whether they have education or not, whether they're educated or not. That doesn't matter when you're recruiting these people. So what do you think about this?
It's quite unfortunate that as a governor, with his pedigree as a professor, he makes such statements. In modern day warfare techniques and strategy, manpower they minimize the risk of sending out more manpowers. In previous years, we have lost a lot of soldiers. Recruiting 100,000, is it going to solve the problem? We should start looking at tech to fight, to at least get intelligence gathering, than pushing a lot of people in the field and risking their life.
And we're talking about insecurity.
So it doesn't mean they should be more strategic. They should use technology, and they should use more of intelligence gathering to cope these issues of Boko Haram.
But these people now that you said that they should be replaced, you said they should be replaced, that irrespective of whether they're educated or not. And you said we should be using tech. These people, if they're not educated, how will they be able to handle it?
Whose fault is their problem? They should empower their people. They collect money, and they are doing little or nothing. So at the end of the day, the reality is staring everybody in its face.
Okay. Also, now still talking of about, Leah Sheribu, it's been 2 years now that she has been adopted by the program, and our parents, her mom came out and she's begging the people, and she said the British Prime Minister, they should help her. That anytime she listens to different news that comes up, different people talking about Leah Sheribu, it saddens her heart that listening to this as a mother, just hearing different rumors about your daughter, it's really not happening to her. And we have President Muhammad Buhari saying that he will use everything, so that this girl will be released from the Boko Haram insurgents now. So what do you think about this and how this is going on? Considering it's been 2 years and a lot of people are still talking about it.
Well, it's just unfortunate and alarming. They are still talking of Leah Sheribu is almost 2 years she's kidnapped.
Yes.
Something that I don't believe that the president has done what he could do, because if he has done what he ought to have done with the security agent, with the security paraphernalia, Leah Sheribu ought to have been released. But we keep having reoccurrence of incompetency and failure on their part. Go back to 2014, the Chibok girls issue. Up to today, most of them, a handful of them, about close to 60 something or thereabout, they are still at large. And we want to tell us that Leah Sheribu that they are going to recover her, or she's going to be integrated back to society from Boko Haram enclave. I'm still yet to doubt or believe if it's going to be a possible mission. So, like what we see, we are just living on, well, each day comes by. Let's see what can come out of it.
And the Christian Association of Nigeria, took out their time yesterday to, embark on a march for Leah Sheribu. People talking about the fact that the presidency has promised and promised and promised, and it's 2 years now. Is there any hope, even up to the extent that Leah Sheribu's mother is calling for international intervention? Are there any things that can be done to get Leah Sheribu back? Because Khan is saying basically that this is an attack on religion versus religion.
It's unfortunate. Like what Leah Sheribu's mother is asking for is an impossible mission, because Nigeria is a sovereign state, and the foreign international sponsors she's asking to come in, there is little or nothing they can do, because if the government don't give them consent to them or seek their cooperation to nip the bud on the issue of terrorist insecurity, I don't think they will come in. So let's keep praying and hoping. Maybe one day, if God touches those people to release her.
Okay. Also, I remember the Khan president also were saying that the government they failed us. They know that these people are, they know who these people are, yet they keep, shouldering the fact that insecurity is one of the things plaguing us. And and coming from like some few weeks ago, when the president was saying that he's surprised at the fact that we're talking about insecurity. So the Khan is saying that how can you say you're surprised? We've been battling with this thing since you came into presidency. So what can you say about that? What's your reaction towards that?
The Buhari factor, when they came in 2015, and a lot of deceptions were in place. We find out that the president told you he's going to cross Boko Haram after some time, that Oshibanje will handle the economy, he will take charge of security. That was one. Later on, he told us, he went to Borno some weeks ago, almost 2 weeks, when he was coming from Ethiopia. As he was leaving, they were bombing the place. And he told us that he's going to take charge. After that, after the bombing, when he went to Ango, a particular community at the outskirts of Borno, that was after a week, few days ago, he made another statement that Boko Haram, if you get them in your community, you shouldn't kill them, you shouldn't fight with them, even though they are with arms, you should arrest them and hand them over to the police. Is he ready to go on the offensive against this certain group of people?
Okay, but Governor Zulum, he said 2016 and 2017 that there was a strategy that the Boko Haram insurgents, like it became, it reduced. That if we can implement this strategy back again, and now people are asking the question on social media that did this really reduce in 2016 strategy, 2017?
Well, if you say they reduce, I think they went on holiday. They didn't reduce. So it's still what we are seeing.
Alright, so we're getting comments from some of our online followers, and they're reacting to our major headlines also that's rolling across the screen, and that's Nigerian oil reserves will dry up in 49 years. Tini praise fever, and I'll take some of their comments. This is from Angel O's warmate, and she says, "All dry, how? I beg you, should leave also." And this is from Pasuma Kenny, and he says, "Very good. Let it dry up in 2021. I will love it." Okay. So people are saying that, and this is from Daniel, and he's saying, "I want oil to dry up in the next one. Let's know the way forward." So people are just giving their own opinion. What do you think about the fact that Timi Presidia is basically saying that the Nigerian oil reserve will dry up in 49 years time?
I think he has a point, but how concrete or how practical is that? Because if that should happen, it will be better for Nigerian society. Because the bone of contention where why the country is still this way and the corruption is endemic is because some certain group of people believe Nigeria is their birthright and they could suppress other people where the natural resources are coming from. Even those the so-called people who are enjoying the privilege and the patronage as a result of their so-called one Nigeria. That's whatever comes from Niger Delta. Go to their place. It's nothing to write home about. So if without this oil, everybody should go their separate ways, if that is possible, or we should restructure. Then every region should control what they have, and everybody will move at its own pace. Then innovations can come in, development and other things. Because if you look now, most of the developed society, they have started moving ahead, looking at other possible ways of bettering their society, like ICT, artificial intelligence. And there are a lot of things, because oil is getting outdated.
So why is it that the Nigerian community, we keep on holding on to the fact that oil is one of our biggest resources? We're not tilting towards, like you said now, that the other countries are basically tilting towards artificial intelligence. Why is that we're not? So putting this Nigerian oil reserve dry up in 49 years, it sounds like we should be scared that when this oil eventually dries up, then what's going to happen? What next for Nigerians? Why is that we're at this stage of our life where we're still depending on oil?
It will depend on oil because one, oil is a major source of revenue and it gives quick money. Because the other sectors take a little while. You need to research, you need training, you need to explore knowledge.
But 49 years is a long time for those sectors to
I think an average leader in Nigeria is ready to spend money on research to empower the next generation to research on how the economy or society will be better. Everybody wants to get that money now. You sell 20 million barrels or 2 million barrels of oil, the dollars come in immediately. Then you invest if you want to build more houses or whatever without considering the society.
But looking at this will affect our economy.
It should affect now. That's where productivity and creativity will come in. Because Nigeria, we cannot keep living this way.
But do you think if we start working on this now, on the looking at other ways that we can do you think in 49 years that we can achieve this?
49 years is too long because if you look at Singapore got their independence in 1965 and they had a benevolent dictator, Lee Kuan Yew. As at 1990, Singapore they have made tremendous impact and transformation in almost every facet of their society. Compared to Nigeria as at 1990, we are nowhere to be found. Singapore had one of the best banking economy as at 1990. They were the second largest builder of ship as at 1990. Singapore as at 1990 has stopped importation of anything. They were bringing it in. Today, compare Nigeria, compare Singapore, a couple of days or months will be 60. Singapore is still 65, 55, sorry. Look at the development, look at the gap. So we can't continue.
Okay, moving on to the power sector, we have the power distribution company So they are to blame for the poor electricity in Nigeria, and they are saying that if they fail, they might stop this, and especially their performance over the last 3 years, that they've been very, very poor, and they might stop this. What do you think about this?
Some of the discos, they were bought with fraudulent money now. Some of them, they don't even have money for operation.
How do you know they were bought with fraudulent money?
Of course, when Fashola came in, he made some revelation. He said some of these discos were bought through cronies in the past administration or even this administration. That some of them don't have office, they buy it with hope that they'll be able to make money. That's why they give people estimated bill. If you have been able to speak with some of them at Ikeja or some of them at a cold distribution, it's true. Some of them will tell you that we have been giving, like I spoke with one last month, he said their target for last year was 8 billion. This year is 10 billion.
But does this mean that before they bought this thing, that they didn't really look at what they were, there was no investigation carried out before they sold this power sector to them?
Well, they will do investigation, but this thing is man no man now. They will sell it to their own person now.
Okay, you're saying that these discos were bought with fraudulent money.
Yes.
And we as a country are trying to fight corruption. How then is this, able to just, crave its way in the disco sector? If the president is trying to fight corruption and you are saying that this disco was bought with fraudulent money, then how far is it?
Why I say so is that most of them, they didn't have the money to start up. There's difference between, in business, there's what we call operational cost. There's what we call your working capital. That's your day-to-day expenses you need to run the business, pending when you start making income or sales as the business require. So if I say these people bought it with this corrupt money, it is a fact by even this government. And looking at whether they are fighting corruption, some of them presently who the government or this government is supposed to persecute, they are already with them. So their hands are tied.
So are you saying that when it comes to this now, that the federal government is putting not looking at that side, they're just removing their eyes when we are?
What do you expect now? Some of them are with the government, so it's very difficult. So for them to do anything, it will be difficult. Except they set up a different body that is independent before things can work.
Okay, so if they set up a different body, how do you think that this will still be different?
Who has no political affiliation, who are professionals in the field? It's just like somebody wake up one morning because you know somebody somewhere, you're able to get some funding as loan. Some of them collected loan now and bought these things. And they say, okay, these are financial projection. In the next 3 years, we'll make this money, I'll start returning the money. You don't do business like that. You must have your working capital.
Okay, so the minister is saying that he wants to revoke their licenses because since the inception of privatization of the sector since 2013, we've not seen any drastic change, whatsoever, and also that government is not willing to continue to subsidize them. So, what do you think exactly could be the way forward? Because electricity has been a major issue for everyone in this country.
I think first and foremost, we have still refused to do things rightly. If you go around, you see generators everywhere. But apart from the hydro process we use in generating power, there is still other source like the local society use. They use wind. The most recent one, which is everywhere, the solar. And there is another one which is already in Nigeria, but it's still strange and has not still made impact. That's what we call generating power through waste. Yes. So there should be more sensitization on other avenues to generate power. And above that, government should remove power from its exclusive list to empower the regions. Even like a particular local government or a LCDA, they can take care of their power. But you need a license if you are going to do such. You need a license from Nigeria Electric Regulatory Commission and from the government before you could start generating your own power. Okay,
let's round up the story and let's move to the Lassa fever. We've been talking about Lassa fever in other states, other parts of the state, and how it has hit a lot of people and it has caused a lot of death. And now there are reports now that it's now in Lagos, and the 63 people are under surveillance for this. They say that one person actually was a person who got it out. The 63 people surround the person, they are checking them and they're looking at this. Now, this Lassa fever, should it be a thing of fear, to people in the Lagos, because people are already talking about it?
Government has done what they will do, but people will still fear. But it's left for you to keep your environment clean. Because Lassa fever is as a result of rats. When they defecate or they are urine on people's food or household item. So it's not a strange whatever. Those things could be checked with a clean environment.
Alright, I feel like we were able to containerize Ebola when it was out there because we knew that it was a disease that immediately just contacted, then everybody would get it like that. So how do you think that the Minister of Health and other health organizations can basically work hand in hand to containerize Lassa fever?
They will have a very strong legislation in place. The Lagos State Health Ministry of Health, they are doing well, not just in terms of Ebola. Even they have started making research and working on how for a possible breakout of coronavirus. Professor Jide about the man is doing well, and I give it to them even because they have a very good response team. But it's left for other states to do same.
Okay, running up our time is fast spent, but let's take a look at the sports. And we have the biggest and the most anticipated fight coming up on Saturday, and that's Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. And a lot of people have been anticipating this fight. They've been saying they've been looking at it. Oh, we win. Now we have other heavyweight champions and other notable names in this sense. And they are saying some of them are supporting Deontay Wilder, like Larry Holmes and Sugar Ray Leonard. They are saying that the heavyweight champion should be able to put down that Tyson Fury. And we have Mike Tyson saying that Tyson Fury should be able to beat the WC heavyweight champion. So what do you think? What's your take on this?
The Western world is very, very interesting. The level of sports have gotten sponsorship and a lot of, at least it's going to attract a lot of interest from different groups. For now, I can't say who's going to win, but I believe Fury is somebody that has a lot of clout and fans. So we see how it goes. But I know whoever emerges will face Joshua by June.
And we have our own Joshua there, Tyson. So what do you think? Sorry, a lot of people are saying that he's surprised. We are all supporting Tyson because we believe that if you face the so-called beast as Deontay Wilder, that this will be, it's like telling them we want the soft hand for him. Yes, now we want Fury for Anthony Joshua. We don't want him to face Deontay Wilder.
You don't choose now. Whatever comes, you go with it. That's what makes you stronger.
Okay, lastly, let's look at Yalo. Yalo set for Europa debut with Man United. We've all been saying that Yalo, there's so what's your take on this Yalo's debut?
Well, I think the media has given they have overblown his image. And let's not forget, he's only on a loan. It's not a contract.
But people are hoping that it becomes permanent. Okay, thank you so much. It's been great having you in the studio. And like my colleague said, Precious, she said, anytime you come here, we look forward to having you here, and we hope to have you here next time. And that is all we have for today today in the news and paper and the in-depth analysis segment. And after this, we have other programs that are coming up. So stay with us and don't go anywhere because we will be looking at other interesting programs. And visit our website www.vanguardngr.com to get breaking news and other interesting stories. And also visit like and follow us on our social media platforms that are showing on your screen. And like I said, we have other programs that are coming up like the sport analysis. So stay with us. We'll be back later on. And but for now, it's bye from me and it's bye from me too. Okay.
Hello there, my name is Victor Oguyinka, and you're welcome to the midweek edition of Today in the News, and of course all of those newspapers across the Federation, and looking at the major headlines everywhere.
Over 1,000 people are benefiting from free medical services provided by the FCT chapter.
Some of the Arsenal fans will be very interested in this news. Arsenal's first club transfer record signed Pep.
The next step is that all the participants at this summit are registered on a database. So the next step is mining that database, looking through it, and sorting into the various segments of the agri value chain participants, and making that database available for all Nigerians to add their own information. If you want to join which of the segments, you have access to see what is available. We provide banking facilities, we provide financial advisory to the participants. Then we take all their requests, which they are already putting on the platform, and we engage them one-on-one. Depending on which part of Nigeria they are in, we are in all the states in Nigeria. So we have physical locations where our agri desk is able to interact with the participants in the agri segment to evaluate how we support you. Is it by farming instruments? Is it working capital? Is it land preparation? Is it access to market? Because it's not just finance. So you have produce. As a bank and on this platform, we're able to connect you to who needs your produce, who has the ability to pay for your produce, so that we energize the value chain. We'll continue this, and we expect to have an annual summit till we reach a level where it is fully established on its own. So next year we will still have the next Agri Summit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.